안녕하세요. 고급영어, 영자신문을 읽으며 영어 공부도 하고 경제 및 시사 공부를 할 수 있는 고급영어로 가는 길 채널입니다. 이번 영상은 바로 전에 올린 와인투자 시장은 요즘 어떨까요? 라는 영상에 대한 원어민 오디오 버전입니다. 앞서 설명드린 와인투자 관련 기사를 원어민은 어떻게 발음하는지 잘 들어보시기 바랍니다. 반복 플레이를 하시면서 암기 용도로 활용하셔도 좋을 것 같습니다. 그럼 원어민 리딩을 바로 시작하도록 하겠습니다. 감사합니다.
Grape expectations. Investors rediscover a taste for fine wine. Money is swinging back into a market that suffered a crash at the start of the decade. 20th of December 2019, ft.com. Danielle Morano knows that making money by trading wine is not always easy. The former Tullet Prebon credit broker has made big gains on Burgundies in recent years, but bought some of the sought-after 2010 Lafite Rothschild earlier this decade, right before the market tanked. Still, he and many other investors are trying to find ways to turn a profit from the fine wine sector that has often left them with severe hangovers. A brutal 4-year sell-off to 2015 cleaned out many funds and private investors from the market. Now, investors are once more trying to crack open the sector, attracted in part by soaring prices for Italy's Super Tuscans. Assets with no yield, but offering the potential for capital growth, have become more compelling in a world of low or negative interest rates on cash and major government bonds. This is particularly the case in less crowded sectors overlooked by other investors, which has spurred interest in esoteric assets ranging from fine art and classic cars to cryptocurrencies. And even if wine trades do badly, there are consolations. If you get it wrong, you can always drink it, shrugged Mr. Morano, who has backed a chain of wine bars called Bottles. Justin Gibbs, co-founder of Livex, an online exchange for wine set up by former BNP Paribas bankers, estimates that investment funds currently manage about £65 million in assets, up from a low of around £40 million a few years ago. This is still just a fraction of the size of the sector around the start of the decade. Cult Wines, which trades wine on behalf of private investors, is one of the beneficiaries. The London-based company has seen the assets it manages surge from £33 million in 2016 to £120 million this year, as investors have been drawn back to the sector. In a record low interest rate environment, people are being forced to look outside their normal sources of return, said Tom Gearing, the company's co-founder, who was once a finalist on the UK version of The Apprentice. A very low correlation to other financial markets is an additional attraction, he said. Fine wine is a niche, inefficient market where prices for the same case can vary markedly between sellers. Contacts, local knowledge and old-fashioned research can give investors an edge. But the market has been tough going. After a 2011 anti-corruption clampdown in China, which had emerged as a major wine buyer, prices slumped by 36% from their peak to their trough 3 years later, as measured by the Livex 100 index. Among funds to come unstuck was Noble Crew, once the world's biggest with €100 million in assets. The Luxembourg domiciled fund was suspended in 2013 after failing to meet redemptions, following questions about the valuation of its investments. Even now, fine wine prices remain about 1/5 of their peaks. This year has yielded more pain as Burgundy wines, a top performer in recent years, have sold off, adding high costs for shipping, storage and insurance, and a healthy trading market can be quickly rinsed away. Upheavals in financial markets, combined with the retirement of Robert Parker, the sector's preeminent critic, have created uncertainty for investors, said Simon Staples, Director of Sales at Berry Bros & Rodd, a London-based wine merchant. Among those trying to squeeze a profit is Gregory Swartberg, a 31-year-old Dutchman based on London's Regent Street, who trades fine wine for clients such as wealthy families. The assets he manages have grown strongly in recent years to more than £10 million. Unlike most investment funds, which have tended to adopt a buy and hold approach, accumulating cases of wine and hoping they eventually rise in price, Mr. Swartberg tries to cash in on short-term discrepancies in the market. Many buyers rely on their judgment of a wine's taste or insights into the terroir, factors including the climate and soil in which the vines grow. But Mr. Swartberg takes a different approach, using computers to crunch reams of data on the latest prices from so-called negociants, trading houses who buy direct from the wineries, as well as scores from a range of critics. One particularly successful trade came late last year when his systems flagged an unusually large gap between the price of newly released Tuscan wines and older vintages. He quickly spent £70,000 to snap up tens of cases before offloading them to a US buyer at a profit of around 35%. His portfolios have gained 9% on average per year. Institutional investors such as pension funds may continue to steer clear of the market, so cult wines Mr. Gearing, as prices are opaque and trading volumes tend to be thin. But for others, the rewards can be high, as can the risks. I've learnt the hard way that trying to treat wine as an asset and class to invest in can be painful, said Mr. Morano. Key takeaway words. 1. Swilling equals pouring. 2. Burgundies, Burgundy wine from eastern France. 3. Crack. 4. Esoteric. 5. Constellations. 6. Fraction. 7. Clampdown. 8. Trough. 9. Flagged. 10. Offload.
자, 오늘 준비한 내용은 여기까지입니다. 오늘도 시청해주셔서 너무 감사드립니다. 구독 및 좋아요 버튼도 꼭 눌러주시고요. 그리고 아래에 있는 whateverthequestionis @gmail.com 이메일로 다뤘으면 하는 기사나 영자 기사의 해석이 안 되는 부분을 문의 주시면 조만간 그에 관한 영상을 제작해 보도록 하겠습니다. 그럼 다음 영상에서 뵙겠습니다. 그때까지 안녕히 계세요. 감사합니다.